Hello friends, what is up? Welcome back to Willow Creek Homestead. My name is Kenzie if you are new here. And in today's video, you guys, we finally get to spend some time planting in the garden together. Before we jump into all of that and I explain everything we are going to be doing today, let me take a moment to take you back a little bit. I have a lot of new faces here, and if you are new, my husband and I decided about 8 months ago that we were going to start the process of building our forever homestead. Now, with building the house also came building my dream garden. So we started the project last summer, and my garden is 40 by 60 with 18 3 by 16 rows. We started tilling and adding manure and getting all of the rows established. We covered them last fall. And then this spring, we took on the project of starting to uncover the rows, doing all of the weeding. There was a ton of prep, you guys. I had to bring in about another full trailer load of manure to start adding back to all of my rows, and we are still not done. My husband was gracious enough to come help me on this day because I wanted to at least get 3 to 4 rows prepped and ready for all of the planting that we are going to be doing. And I also wanted to make sure that the fencing was done. So if you have not seen last week's video, be sure to go back and watch that. I will leave it up above. There is an entire process from start to finish on what it took to get the garden established and everything done. So I won't go into all of that too terribly much, but just know that this has been a long time coming. This has been approximately 8 months in the making. So to say that I am excited to be here with you all is a serious understatement. We are going to be spending so much time together out here, growing and learning together. I also went from having a small container garden to a humongous in-ground garden. So this is an entirely new learning curve for me. I am going to be learning so much. I hope that I can teach you guys a thing or two as well. So if you are new to gardening, I hope that I am able to inspire you and show you that you don't need all of this space to get started. Start where you are and work your way up. And hopefully you guys enjoy the ride that I am about to take you all on. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to preserve all of these things with you. So really looking forward to showing you how all of this turns out, and hopefully we get a really good harvest at the end of the year. So before we begin planting in any of the rows, I just want to quickly give you guys an overview and say that I have absolutely no plan for how any of this should or needs to go, okay? All I know is that my house is right there. So on these 3 rows, I would like them to all be flowers and just really pretty things to look at. I also know that my driveway is right here, and I would like cool things to look at here as well. But again, I don't really have a plan for it. We are going to be starting all of my cool weather crops, and these 3 rows right here are the ones that are prepped and ready to go. I do have some over here where the trellising is. I have 8 rows of trellising and need to put more in additionally as well. So we are just going to get to what we can today and make it work. Okay, so I was taking a moment to think before I start putting seeds in the ground. I think what I'm going to do is on this entire back row of this very first row, I am going to plant peas on the entire back side. Now, I don't have a trellis up yet, but I'm thinking about coming back next weekend and putting one up. So I think that's my game plan, and eventually I will put a couple more pea trellises in. I just don't want to devote one of my nice big trellises to peas specifically. So I have a couple of different varieties. I have tons of seeds. I have starts that I got with me and my friend the other day. We actually went to a greenhouse yesterday, you guys, and it was so incredibly fun. They had just about everything and anything you could possibly ever want or dream of. They had super cool succulents and coleuses and flowers and herbs and tomatoes and just so many fun things. And this is my favorite time of year. I love going to greenhouses. And my goal originally was to start all of my stuff, but going from such a small container garden, I knew that I wasn't going to have the space this year, particularly to start everything that I wanted to. So I'm definitely giving myself grace to buy starts if I need them. And it was just really fun to get out of the house and go see what they had there. So really enjoyed that. And I'll insert some footage of everything that I picked up. And we will be planting all of that together very soon as well. Okay, so to start, I'm going to start doing some sugar snap peas. And like I said, we're going to go down this entire row. I also have some mammoth melting snow peas from M.I. Gardener as well, and I will leave their link down below. But basically, I'm just going to keep going until I run out of one package, and then I will open up a new package and just go all the way down this row. I'll put the trellis on the very back side. So we are going to start this pea line right here, and these need to go about 1 inch deep. It is also important to note that it is April 5th. So I might actually be a little bit behind on some of this, but that's totally okay. We are just going to do what we can and try to make it work. So I'm going to start devoting all of this to the peas, and I will meet you back when I get it done. My audio cut out about halfway through that video, so that's fantastic. But this is all butter crunch lettuce, and these are all the starter packs that I bought yesterday with my friend, so I did about 8 of these. And then we are just going to sprinkle in some lettuce seeds over here. And these are from MI Gardener again. So I have frizzy, edivine, and some tango leaf. This is just like a cut and come again lettuce that you can just sprinkle on and it comes up. Lettuce is super forgiving as well. So all I'm going to do, you guys, literally, is I am just going to open a package of this, and we are going to start sprinkling on some seeds. And these big clumps from the manure that is composted, that will all eventually break down. So I have just kind of been throwing it out of the way as I go, but I'm just going to take a packet and sprinkle this on just the front, because remember, our peas are on the back. So we will get some of the tango leaf on there. And then I'm also going to do some of this frizzy edivine, or however you pronounce that. So we'll get some seeds sprinkled in. And that was all for that one. And then I am just going to take some of this manure that's really, really, really light and fluffy and just start sprinkling that over top. And try not to disrupt the peas in the process. And then I'm also going to plant in some slow bolt arugula right here over from where I left off. And I don't know about you guys, but I love arugula, so I just planted the entire packet. Then I also have some already opened slow bolt loose leaf, and I'm just going to plant that on the other side. So I left off about right here with all the lettuce and the arugula, and I don't know about you, but my family and I, we really like a mixed lettuce pack anyway. So if all of what I just planted gets mixed up, it's totally fine. We like arugula in with our spring mixes and things like that, so not a big deal. So the next thing that I'm going to move on to from about right here to here is a bunch of spinach, and there are several different varieties. Most of these, again, are from MI Gardener, and these are the 4 packages that were already opened. So I am going to plant in and use what's already open. I'm not going to open up any new varieties. So we have a salad sensation hybrid, a giant winter spinach, giant noble spinach, and big ruffles. So again, I am just going to open these packages and sprinkle it in. And you can plant spinach really densely together. You do not need to worry about the spacing, or at least I never have, and I've never had any issues with it. So that's exactly what I am going to do again. So I'm just going to kind of mix up this soil really quickly, like so, get it really light and fluffy again. And then I'm just going to sprinkle in a bunch of this spinach. And I am definitely going to have to scrub the heck out of my jeans today. But that is totally okay. So the next ones we're going to do are Giant Winter and Giant Noble. And like I said, I think I'm a little bit late on some of this. So I am going to plant like all of my cold weather lettuces and spinaches and things pretty densely so that even if it starts to get really warm really quickly, I can still hopefully get a harvest. I really like blanching and freezing spinach to go in a wide variety of different things that I can and just recipes that I make throughout the summer. So hopefully we have not missed this window. So then for the very end of the row, and you can kind of see where I have left off and where I planted those peas. So I'm going to go ahead and grab out all of these super big chunks because they are kind of in the way of what I'm trying to do here. And get the ground fluffed back over. And we are going to plant all of this chard. Now, probably not all of it. I will plant more of this on the ends of some of the other rows. But we are definitely going to get some in the ground. And spacing is 4 to 6 inches. So I am going to be a little bit more methodical about the chard because it does come up pretty big. So the first one I'm starting off with is the orange Swiss chard. And I'm going to start from right about here. Make my line so I know where I planted those peas at. And I'm just going to start placing them in the ground about 4 to 6 inches-ish apart. And chard is a new vegetable for me, you guys. I had never had it before until the first time of trying it and growing it last year, and I absolutely love it now. It's so good. Also, don't forget that as these come up, you can always thin them out too. If you overplant, you can come out here and pick out extras if you have any. All right, friends, the first row for Garden 2025 is completely done, and that feels absolutely amazing. So now we are going to move on to this row. So I think I want the bulk of this row to be all cabbage and broccoli and things of that nature. But just on the very end here, I am going to go ahead and throw in some kale. So I have scarlet kale, I have blue curled Scotch, I have red Russian, and lacinato dinosaur kale. I've never planted that one, and that one's not open. So I don't think I'm going to do that one for spring. We might do that one in the fall. That one is not open either. So let's go ahead and just use the blue curled Scotch and scarlet. These are not the right gloves to be doing this with. And it does say to space these out about 12 to 18 inches apart. So we are going to do about 3 down each row. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we will also do some of this blue curled Scotch kale. Sprinkle just a couple more seeds in there just in case those other ones do not come up. All right, so the rest of this row, like I said, is going to be cabbage, broccoli. I have some kohlrabi and Brussels sprouts. And if I have more like than that to fill up this row, I'll just use the other one too, because I do have more cabbage at home. But it is supposed to get down to about 26 degrees on Monday, and then the rest of the weeks look absolutely fantastic for lows. And those are still pretty small, so I don't want to chance them getting damaged due to the frost. But I think that these big ones that I picked up from the greenhouse will be totally fine. So I'm just going to start getting these planted in here. And this is Chinese cabbage, also known as Napa cabbage. And I really want to do a lot of like fermented kimchi this year. So I did start a bunch of Napa cabbage as well myself. So hopefully we get a good cabbage harvest. Okay, so here are the Chinese cabbage in. And then I'm going to leave this space open for additional cabbages and do some kohlrabi and Brussels sprouts right here on the end. And here are the beautiful Brussels sprout starts that I picked up at the greenhouse. I'm hoping 4 is enough, and I'm hoping that we get something out of it because my family and I really like Brussels sprouts. I'm not entirely sure the spacing on Brussels sprouts. Does it say? 18 to 30 inches apart. So these require quite a little bit of space. So we will stick 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4 on the very end. I am not super knowledgeable on Brussels sprouts because, like I said, I've never grown them before, but hopefully we will be able to get something out of them. I would like to do it as a fall crop too if my spring ones go really good, because we like to eat them fresh, but I also know a lot of people that blanch them and freeze them, and I think that that would be really nice to have them on hand for winter recipes and winter meal prep. Okay, so there's our first 2 in the ground, and then I'm going to do another one right here. Okay, so then beside the Brussels sprouts, I am going to put these 4 kohlrabi. Now, it does not say the spacing on these, but the bulk of the kohlrabi is at the bottom. So even if the leaves get big and kind of intertwine with the Brussels sprouts, it won't be a big deal. I just want to give myself enough room to put some more cabbages here, and then we'll probably put cabbages on the back row, like I said, whenever mine get bigger. So I'm thinking 3 together on a 3x16 row. I don't know. We'll try it. Like I said, I'm totally new to in-ground gardening. So I am just learning today as I go. So I'm going to start 1 just basically on the edge, then 1 in the middle, and then 1 at the very end. And we will all taste test these together if I get a harvest out of them, because I have never tried them. And I didn't start any this year. But when I saw them at the greenhouse, I was like, I want to get kohlrabi and see what they taste like, because I know a lot of people really enjoy them. So we will be sure to give them a taste test together and see what we think. Okay, we are getting a lot accomplished today. Feels really good, but now comes the grueling process of individually placing each one of these onions in the ground. I am really not looking forward to this, but it has to be done. So if you remember, we started these all together. I will link the video up above for you guys if you want to go back and watch it. I kind of go in depth about how I start them and just, about the different varieties and things like that. So we have Red Wing and Patterson, which are hybrid varieties and more long-term storage from Johnny Seeds. And then we also have Ruby Red and Walla Walla, which are more short-term varieties from M.I. Gardner. I wanted to test both of them, long-term storage versus short-term storage, and hybrid versus heirloom. And my plan is to use all of the ones from M.I. Gardner that are heirloom varieties for all of my canning and processing throughout the summer. And then hopefully we will have all of these throughout the winter months to enjoy fresh. If you see there, I have a little volunteer celery going as well. Maybe I'll stick it in the ground and just see what comes of it. But I am going to get started on putting all of these in the ground. So if you've never transplanted onions before, this will be good for you to see how it's done. And I did start all of these from seed, and they look absolutely beautiful. I have fertilized them every 2 weeks with Alaskan fish fertilizer. And if you didn't know, onions are really heavy nitrogen feeders. So this manure has been composted for 3 years. So it's not as high of nitrogen as if you were using like fresh manure, which is not recommended. But there is a lot of really good nitrogen in the soil already. But I will definitely be coming out probably still every 2 weeks and fertilizing them with the Alaskan fish fertilizer. I tried growing onions in grow bags 2 years straight, and I had no success with it whatsoever. So I am hoping and praying that we can get a good onion harvest together. So we will see how it turns out, but let's go ahead and get these in the ground. Friends, I have a garden mascot over here with me. This is Gary. This is my mother and father-in-law's cat. And he is an explorer. I wondered how long it would take you to figure out I was over here. Yeah, you're a bad boy. You gonna roll around in my garden beds, huh? Yeah, you naughty boy. That was a total chore and a half, and I'm still not done. I still have the ruby red onions over there that need to go down there. But I got the Patterson, Red Wing, and Walla Walla onions all done. Something to note about onions is you don't want to plant them too far in the ground. So what I like to do is dig like a deep trench for all of their roots and things. And then I just take the onion itself and kind of pull up to make sure that these are not super, super deep in the ground. Because if you bury the bulb, it will not have an opportunity to size up. So if you go to transplant out your onion starts, definitely make sure you do not plant them too deep. Okay, so I have reserved the spot for the ruby red onions, and I will get those in just a little bit, but I need a break from onions. That is so incredibly time consuming. Onions are my least favorite thing to plant out because of all of the work that is involved. But for the rest of this little space of the bed, I am going to go ahead and plant in some German giant radishes. And again, this is just a package that was already open. I don't have a particular favorite variety of radishes. However, last year I did a lot of pickled radishes. And if you've never had pickled radishes, I highly recommend. They were my absolute favorite snack, and I loved adding them into salads and things. So I am going to go ahead and start a bunch of these over here. I think I have enough of these German giant radishes to just take up the whole last little space over here. And again, if we need to thin them out, we can totally do that later on. But I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle a bunch of these in. And then once I get absolutely everything done, I'm going to try and find some water and get everything watered in, hopefully. Okay, so radishes are done. Okay, friends, I have officially reached a stopping point / break time for the day. Super, super thrilled that we got these 3 rows basically accomplished. The first one is all done. Second one still has some things to go in it. And then this one is entirely done. So that feels so incredibly good. I'm having a realization that I have a lot of space. And I knew that I was going to have a lot of space going from such a tiny garden to this big of a garden. But I was originally trying to kind of stuff things in the rows, and it's kind of a nice feeling to know that I don't have to work on really maximizing my space and that I have a lot of room to make errors and all of those good things. So yeah, 3 rows basically done, 15-ish more to go. A lot of work ahead of us. It's going to be very, very challenging, but also very rewarding. So I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Look out for many more garden videos and harvests and things like that to come. I hope you guys all have an absolute fantastic rest of your week. And as always, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye, friends.